Just to be clear, I'm not speaking here about total weight gain, because you can gain loads of body fat, 2-3 stone a year if you want, but I'm talking here about lean body mass. What's going on YouTube, it's Jason, and in this video, we're going to be discussing why you have stopped building muscle. Now, I've been training myself for 20 years, and I've been a coach for around 10 of those years, and I can say with confidence that there are 5 main culprits and 5 mistakes that people make that are literally killing their gains. Just to be clear, the advice I'm about to go through in this video does apply to everybody, but it does apply more so to naturals, because when you're taking steroids, your body is much more forgiving of your mistakes. Mistake number 1 is that you are always trying to get leaner. There are some people you speak to who are literally permanently cutting year round. Now, there's a lot of misinformation out there about main gaining, building muscle and losing body fat at the same time. There are certain scenarios where that can happen. I talk about that in another video, but as a rule of thumb, the gains that you make when trying to do both things at the same time are going to be painfully slow versus committing to one goal. And if you are eating less calories than your body needs to maintain itself, you are not going to build muscle at an optimal rate. The way you build muscle at an optimal rate is being in a caloric surplus, or eating more calories than your body needs per day to maintain itself. Now, a lot of people get carried away when you start speaking about a calorie surplus. They end up eating everything in sight and end up consuming something like 1,000 or 1,500 calories over their maintenance. Now, this will lead to muscle gain, no doubt, but it's going to lead to a lot of fat gain. And if aesthetics is your goal, you're going to need to spend most of the year dieting that off to lean down and reveal the muscle. For the vast majority of people, you don't need to be in that big of a surplus in order to gain muscle at an optimal rate and also minimize fat gain. Most people need somewhere between 100 and 400 calories over their maintenance. People that are new to training need the upper end of that. People that are more advanced need the lower end. So yeah, trying to lose body fat 24/7 is going to hamper your gains. It's not the right environment to build muscle at an optimal rate. Just accept that you're going to have to eat a bit more, and in the process, you are going to gain some body fat. The key is being lean enough to start your bulk. And this kind of answers the question, I get this a lot, what should I do if I'm skinny fat? I believe you should lean down first. You don't have to, but if your goal is aesthetics, most people, if they're fat to begin with, are going to gain a little bit of body fat, hit the panic button, abort the mission, and just be stuck in this place of perma-cutting, where they're not really building much muscle, but they're not really losing much fat either. So lean down first if you're skinny fat, and then proceed to bulk. Reason number 2 as to why you stopped gaining muscle is that you have been training consistently for 5+ years. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, why does me being consistent for 5 years with my training, my nutrition, and my recovery hold me back when it comes to gains? Isn't consistency a good thing? Yes, consistency is a great thing, but the reality is most of the muscle that you will ever build happens in the first 5 years of consistent training, particularly the first year, and then it gets less and less up to year 5. And then for the rest of your life. You can't keep building crazy amounts of muscle despite what your favorite fitness influencer is trying to tell you. The thing no one really speaks about in the fitness industry is that more muscle is good, but too much muscle is actually a negative thing because it overloads your system and can lead to more injuries. And let's not forget, your body's main goal is survival. And so if anything comes as a threat to its survival, it will try and minimize that or lessen that risk. So that's why you can't keep building muscle forever. So you may think that you stop building muscle, but in reality, it's not the case, especially if you can continue getting stronger. What's probably happening is your muscle gains have become painfully slow. And this is just the reality of being a natural. Mistake number 3 is that you are changing your workouts too frequently. I see this mistake all the time. People looking to mix it up and keep things fresh, and they're swapping their workouts every like 4 to 6 weeks. You see it all over the men's health magazines and online forums, and I get it, it sells with people because people have short attention spans and get bored very easily. But in terms of building muscle optimally, it's about sticking to a program to actually squeeze out the gains out of that program. If you think about your job, if you changed job every 6 months, you would never get good at anything. You'd become a jack of all trades and master of none. It's about sticking at a job for a good period of time, becoming a beast in that role, and then either getting promoted or moving on. And if we apply that principle to making muscle gains, one of the key principles of building muscle is applying something called progressive overload, which means getting better over time. Whether that's lifting more weight, doing more sets, or more reps, as long as your workouts are getting more difficult over time, you will build muscle. But if you're chopping and changing your workouts every week, it's very hard for you to measure where and if you are actually getting better. So by sticking to the same workout for at least, I would say 8 to 10 weeks, probably more like 12 weeks, you can actually measure, am I improving? Am I getting better? And if you're not, you can tweak something to change that. If I use myself as an example, I've gained around 20 kilos of muscle since I first started lifting. I rarely change my program. Like, I've been following this program for at least 3 or 4 years, and I'm making muscle gains every year, albeit small gains, because your body can't really tell the difference between a sexy men's health workout and a boring traditional workout that you do again and again, but just improve something over time. Mistake number 4, and this is kind of linked to mistake number 2, is that you have unrealistic expectations. It can get easy to get swept up in the fitness influencers that sell you their blueprints to making muscle gains and how you can pack on like 5 kilos of muscle. It simply doesn't happen if you've been training for a long period of time. Muscle gain rates, when you look into the science, are something around 10 to 15 pounds of muscle in your first year, about half of that in year 2, and about half of that in year 3. Just to be clear, I'm not speaking here about total weight gain, because you can gain loads of body fat, 2-3 stone a year if you want, but I'm talking here about lean body mass. In terms of muscle gain rates, this largely boils down to genetics. Those with great genetics may gain more than this. Those with poor genetics will probably gain a lot less than this, but these are the averages. It's so important to manage your expectations so you don't act like most people and start panicking at 5 years, thinking they're doing something wrong or thinking there's something wrong with their body. There is nothing wrong with your body, you just have unrealistic expectations. And number 5 is that you are not optimizing everything. By everything, I mean your nutrition, your training, your stress management, and your recovery. As I mentioned, I've been a coach for the last decade, and I can say with confidence that north of 95% of people who moan about how much muscle that they're building or how much muscle they're not gaining basically are dropping the ball in really easy areas, like their nutrition. Are they consistently in a surplus? No. Are they getting enough protein? No. Training wise, are they pushing themselves or are they going through the motions? If you're going through the motions, chances are you're not applying progressive overload. Number 4, stress management. We often overlook this, but if you have a lot of life stress going on, it's not an optimal environment to build muscle. You produce more of a hormone called cortisol, and cortisol can eat away at muscle tissue. If you're a guy and you're more stress can lead to lower testosterone. Lower testosterone is not going to create a good environment for muscle growth. And the last one is rest. If you're skimping on sleep or getting poor quality sleep, you are not going to be building an optimal amount of muscle. Now, I want to say something super important here. The information I'm discussing and the areas in which people are dropping the ball is information that is out there. A lot of people I meet not making muscle gains already know this information, but they convince themselves that they just need to know a little bit more, perhaps learn from Men's Health or get that top tip from Chris Hemsworth about how he built his body in order to move the needle and start making muscle gains. No, the reality is making muscle gains is not about theory. Losing body fat even is not about theory. It is in the practical, consistently showing up for 3, 4, 5, and even 6 months in order to see a result. The truth is, most people can't stay consistent for that long, which means that even if I gave you the perfect strategy on this video, as I have done, to point out your mistakes and make gains, 98% of people will still stay stuck. If you're one of those people who's gone through a plateau and you're not making gains and you're getting frustrated with your training and you're mixing up your program because you're not really seeing results, click the link below, speak to an experienced coach like myself, and I can look at your program and help you optimize things and take your gains to the next level. So that's everything for this video. Hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Don't forget to like it if you did. Subscribe to my channel to follow me on this journey, and I'll see you again soon.